Hello, my friends. My camera is off today because I have I'm sick, so I don't look my best. So I just thought that I would come on this way. I'm quarantined to my bedroom. When I come out, for whatever reason, I wear a mask. I'm sanitizing my hands. We've got Clorox wipes, we've got Lysol, we've got all sorts of things to keep things sanitized for when my son and I do have to leave the room for whatever reason. Phew, excuse me. I've been napping a lot since yesterday, and but it gets old laying in bed, so I at least thought I'd get out of my bed and sit in a chair at the computer and talk with you a little bit. Maybe. See if anybody comes on. It is almost noon, so we will see. Remy was squawking away down there. But I wish I could bring him up here and hang out with him. Thought about bringing Lexi in here to hang out with, but Bella's in here, sitting on the bed with me. Well, she's not. I'm not on the bed. I'm sitting in a chair, but she's on the. Hi, she's here, hanging out with me. Well, I'm stuck in my room. I will have to pay attention to Brinley at some point, go out in the rest of the house, feed her, let her out, that kind of thing. Um, but otherwise, all the animals are on their own until it's time for feeding and stuff like that. Hey, average girl, how you doing? You're cleaning the house? I'm banned from cleaning the house. My husband's gonna be doing it. I'm ill and quarantined to the bedroom. Ian is ill and quarantined to his bedroom, and we're awaiting test results for COVID. I'll probably be getting my test results first. They told me by Wednesday. Ian was told that his would take longer, and I think it was just they did his test at a different location, and they did a different test. They did an older test on him than the other place did on me. So his test results are going to take a little longer to get back. But in the meantime, we're not working and we're stuck in our bedrooms. My husband is still working. He's been sleeping now in our spare bedroom. Hey, MT. And he when he went to work today, he's wearing a mask and everything, but he told his boss that my son and I are sick, and we got tested on Friday and all that, and his boss just said, well, since you're not showing symptoms, go to work and be careful. I'm just like, are you freaking serious? Like, if it comes back positive for either one of us, he's been exposed, and he's not showing symptoms as of yet, but you just sent him out into the working world. Like, that just blows my mind. Um, but yeah, and I figure even if my test results come back negative, I do want to wait until his results come back first, because I have not run a fever, but he did. And when he ran a fever, when he got tested, the day that he still had a bit of a fever, they also did a flu test on him, and his flu test came back negative. So I'm going to take my results with a grain of salt. If mine are negative, I want to wait and find out what his are. Yeah, I didn't have a temperature, but I had all my other symptoms are the same. So, with the exception of I didn't run a fever, but everybody gets, different symptoms too. So, and my ex, my son's dad, is also sick. So it's just funny to me that we all have it exactly at the same time. My son got it first. The day after, my ex started showing symptoms, and the day after that, I started showing symptoms. So it's really weird that we just like dropped one, two, three. Yeah, well, I guess we'll see. Yeah, we'll get better. Yeah, I'm not too worried. I mean, we don't have underlying health conditions um that would be making it worse. Now his father, my ex, has asthma. So that concerns me a little bit, but he's been reporting his symptoms to me as being about the same as what we have. So, hey, Sunny, how are you doing? Hey, Miss Southern Belle, how you doing? Keeping the camera off myself today because I look a fright. I've been in my bed a lot. Quarantined to my room, so my hair's a mess. I don't have makeup on. I'm congested. I just would rather not be seen. I mean, I suppose I could use a filter. Use liquid silver. I still have yet to get liquid silver. Hey Rachel, how you doing? It's really sad because any other time we would have just been like, oh, got a cold, oh, got a flu. Now we're like, it could be COVID because they have the same freaking symptoms. So now it's just like, oh, staying away from everybody. We're sanitizing everything, and my husband's sleeping in a different room. And yeah, which doesn't happen when we're sick otherwise. So, yeah, it's been interesting. Hey, bud, how you doing? Yeah, I hope so too. My son's temperature is normal now. I've been taking my temperature every day, and it's been normal. Um, my throat isn't sore anymore. The first day I had a sore throat. Now it's just kind of scratchy. Um, and then there's congestion and the cough, and a headache. So, which they say are all symptoms. So that's why we're being careful. Yeah, vitamin C, vitamin D, all that stuff's supposed to be good. Hot liquids. But yeah, and normally when one of us gets sick, usually one of us done with it and it's run its course and we're better, and then the next person drops. But now it's like me and my son and my ex, all three at the same time. One day, Ian showed symptoms the day after his birthday. The day after that, my ex started showing symptoms. The day after that, I started showing symptoms. I'm like, seriously? So far, my husband is good, but his boss has been made aware of both me and my son that we're awaiting tests and or test results, and they sent him off to work. Just be careful, they said. I'm like, oh geez, but they are of the mindset that this is no worse than the flu. So Remy is doing good. He's been squawking up a storm this morning. Even with me in my bedroom with the door closed, I can hear him. He's a happy guy. Eat before you head out. It's always important. Oh yes, I've been eating. I put on my mask when I leave my room. I sanitize my hands before I leave my room. I put on my mask. I go and do what I gotta do for food or going to the bathroom or anything like that. And then we have Clorox wipes in the bathroom, in the kitchen, anything that we touch. Um, and then come back into the room. And I tell you what, if you think it's hard to breathe in those masks when you're healthy, when you're congested, it's worse. I'm like, I can't wait to come back into my room and take it off. But yeah, so far it just feels like a cold. Um, but we're not taking any chances, especially because, it's not really a cold if someone runs a fever. And my son did run a fever. And the fact that they tested him for the flu as well and that came back negative, that kind of worried us. But I don't know if a flu test covers all strains or just the most popular strain that they have the flu vaccine for. So I'm not sure. But I guess, you know, we're just going to wait and see. Let me grab a Kleenex because my nose is starting to run. I'll mute myself when I blow my nose, guys. You don't need to hear it. All right. All right. So what's everybody up to? I hope you had a good weekend. What are your plans for this week? Drinking my coffee. After my coffee, I'll probably have Dayquil. Oh no, bud, I'm sorry. It's contagious. I'm telling you what, though, when you have a scratchy or sore throat, drinking something, it doesn't even matter. Like my coffee at this point is not cold, but it's not hot. It's room temperature and it's heavenly on the throat. My throat isn't sore, but it's scratchy, and liquid just is heavenly. Thank you, Sunny. I appreciate that. I need to get my numbers up again, and I got to get my hours up again. I had my hours for months, and then I stopped going live, and I've dropped like severely. So I need to start working on it again. I'm wanting to work on a video, informational video about my hissing cockroaches. I found out I did some research and I found out some really interesting facts about them. So I did a little bit of a video earlier, just recorded them earlier. I lifted up the egg carton thing, and my biggest two, or my male and my female, were underneath. And I touched the female. She moved a little bit, but she just sat there after the initial startle and let me like pet her back, which basically I just run my finger along her back. I touched the male and he was all hissing up a storm, so that'll be in the video because I'm going to put clips of all my videos um, from the past. I've got one of my female eating an orange, things like that. But I'll put all those in one video when I do my facts about them. And he was just hissing up a storm this morning. It was really funny. And then my little one, who is the sex is still to be determined, he's grown, but it's still hard to tell if he's male or female. I think he's going to have to get a little bit bigger first. But Yeah, I'm working on pulling up facts about them that sometimes people aren't gonna know, and other names that they're known by and things like that. And they are not roaches that you would typically find in your house. They're not house cockroaches. Um, those are entirely different, but they are a really, really cool species. Have warm Lipton tea with honey in it. See, I would have to have tea that I'm not a fan of hot tea. I like iced tea. So if I can do that with colder tea, sweetened or whatever, I'm for some reason I have never been a fan of hot tea. I just never have. I don't know why. Sorry, I won't see that video. They are very cool creatures. I have actually held one and I never thought that I would. I haven't held any of mine at this point, but before I brought them home, I did hold one and they don't bite. They do have little spikies on their legs, so if you pick them up the wrong way, that can poke you. They use that for fighting. Um, but they're really cool otherwise. They really are. And I have a video of, I hope I kept it, but I have a video, or I did have a video of one of them slurping water droplets off the side of the tank, which I thought was really cool. They are very, very interesting creatures. And I used to be like deathly afraid. See, it's funny, since I started getting all into animals and different breeds and everything, I never ever wanted to have a snake. Now I'm okay with the idea, depending on what kind of snake, because I don't want to feed rats. I have pet rats. And that's another thing I never thought I'd have. I never thought I'd have pet rats, and I do, and I love them to death. I never thought I'd have a tarantula. I have a tarantula. I never thought I'd be willing to have cockroaches willingly in my house, and I do. Um, I have a gecko. When you start learning about them and that they're not harmful or the benefits that they have and things like that, it's really interesting. My roaches are actually in the bedroom. I have an old cedar trunk I actually bought off an Amish lady. And the cool part is there's a piece of newspaper in the bottom of the trunk that she put in there. The newspaper sheet is from the 50s. And that's still in there, which is super cool. I left it. But on the trunk, I have the roach tank because during the day, usually when I'm not in here and the AC in the window is not on, it gets really warm up here and they need that heat and humidity. Rats are great pets. They really are. They have such a stigma to them. And yeah, I'm still not going to be good with a wild rat, but domesticated rats are awesome, awesome, awesome pets. They really are just dogs of the rodent world. They really are. They're smart. I know you've got chickens. I want chickens, but I did look up the laws for having chickens in town in the city that I'm in, and we can't have chickens inside city limits. I think depending, like there was a lady in a little small town where I used to live. She was in city limits and she had chickens. So I'm wondering if you just have to have special permission or something. But she was in a different county than I am in now. But yeah, we can't have chickens inside city limits, so we'd have to go outside the city limits to have chickens. I also looked up about beekeeping, and you can do beekeeping in town, but you have to have a large enough property. It has to be so many feet away on all sides from the street, and our property isn't big enough. So Remy's pretty cool, bud. He really is. He's talking up a storm. He'll say things along with me now sometimes, but I guarantee you if I do a video, he won't. But I'll say to him, "What a good boy." And as I'm saying good boy, he says good boy. So he'll talk along with me. He still does the counting. He'll say, "Yeah, what a good boy. What are you doing?" And counting, and he'll do all those things on his own too. Like, if we're just minding our own business, we'll hear him. After he's squawking for a while, we'll start hearing him say things. Um, so it's really, really cool to listen to what he's learned. But I'll be like, "What are you doing?" And he comes over to the front of the cage and I'm like, "Are you a good boy? What a good boy." And as I say that, he's saying, "What a good boy." And it's just the cutest thing. But every time I pull the camera out, he stops doing it. He does quack like a duck and oink like a pig. He'll laugh. I go, and he'll go. So yeah, he'll do that too. It's really funny. Yeah, my area is like that with some animals. Special permits may not be. Yeah. I gotta have to turn on the AC. I turned it off for a little bit because I was chilly, but now it's getting warm in here, so you're gonna hear a little bit of a noise because now it's getting warm in here. Yeah, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. I want to get him like a harness or something. There are things that you can put like a little band around their ankle with like a leash or whatever. So if he were like to jump off my shoulder, he wouldn't be able to get away. His wings are clipped, but he likes to kind of glide and flutter away. I had taken him to work one day when I was off so that he could visit, and a stranger kind of like walked up to me and was like, "Hey," and put out his hand, and he jumped off my shoulder, and I had to retrieve him off the floor. So, um, but there are harnesses too that like would fit over them like a vest, but I don't know if he would even tolerate me putting anything like that on him. Oh, it's all right, bud. It was bound to happen. I usually get a summer cold. Um, But now it's like, "Oh my gosh, it's the Rona." So yeah, we did get tested because all our symptoms are the same symptoms that COVID has. So we just want to make sure that we're good. So I was supposed to work Saturday and Sunday, and I didn't. Um, I'm off until further notice until we know. Yeah, yeah, I would have to do harness training. I mean, for the most part, he'll stay on my shoulder, but if something makes him want to leave, he'll just leave. And he definitely prefers me over other people. Um, when I reach out for him, he still can get kind of moody with me, but not as often as he is with like if my husband or my son walks nearby, he'll reach out like he's gonna bite them. Um, but he did sit on my son the other day on his birthday. He sat on his shoulder or kind of on his chest and let him pet his head and stuff like that. So that was good. Oh, that's good, bud. Yeah, my son, since he had a fever, which colds don't typically have, he was tested for the flu as well, and he got the results the same during the visit, and he was negative for flu. So that's kind of daunting, to know that he had flu symptoms and it's not the flu. So I guess we'll see. But yeah, he's stuck in his room. I'm stuck in my room, only coming out with masks and lots of sanitizer and all of that. I have to go out. Like I came out of the room last night. with a mask and all of that, and tried to get all the animals fed quickly because it was so hard to breathe. It's hard to breathe when you're congested anyway, and then you stick a mask over your face, and it's like, oh my gosh. But just I'm hoping that my husband remains healthy, and that he doesn't come down sick. I did file for unemployment just in case, um, so that I could still get some money coming in even if I have to stay home. Hey, Crystal, how you doing? Did you get your test results back, bud? Did they say negative? Crystal, I wish you could send me some isopods. I don't have any money, but I would love some isopods. I gotta get I know somebody local that's got some too, but he's got to wait for his colony to expand a little more before he splits them off. He's got dairy cows. I know he's got a couple other ones too, but I can't remember what they are. But he's got dairy cows. Oh, good. I'm glad it was negative. Yeah, we're still waiting on ours. He got tested at ReadyMed, and they told him 7 to 10 days before his results come in, which is a horribly long time to be waiting. He also said they stuck that swab so far up his nose it felt like they were poking his brain, which I've learned is an older test because they didn't stick the swab as far up for me, and I got myself tested in another place, and I don't have to wait as long for the results. They told me that I'll find out by Wednesday. So I was like, maybe we should just, even though he's already been tested, maybe we should just go there and test him again with the other test. I mean, by now, the wait would be just as long as the other, but I was like, ridiculous. And we were in ReadyMed for over an hour, but they also did the flu test for him. They didn't do a flu test for me. And we were waiting until we found out the flu test result. So we were there forever, whereas my drive to go and get my test was like 40 minutes or whatever, and I was literally in there getting tested for like 2 minutes. I walked in, got done, walked out. The drive was literally the longest part for me. Oh, I'm still feeling kind of cruddy. My head's congested. Gotta blow my nose. My throat's scratchy. Got a cough. My headache comes and goes. Um, I'm just kind of wiped out, feeling wiped out. But other than that, I'm all right. And my son is pretty much the same. At least his temperature's normal again. Bella's barking. What? But so far, my husband's okay. Um, my son's dad has the same symptoms. Um, and again, I mentioned this earlier in the stream, but it's funny how we kind of all three dropped one at a time. Ian was first. The next day was his dad. The next day was me. And I know if I got it at all, I got it from my son. But at the same time, usually the incubation period is a little bit further. You don't get it like the day after, but or 2 days after, or whatever it is. But it was like 1, 2, 3. Unless we all had contact somewhere else at the same time, I don't know. And I know I never had contact with my ex. So the common denominator would be my son. And my son was first. So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel bad for him because Wednesday was his birthday. And then Thursday he started having a sore throat and that kind of thing. And then Friday he had a fever and a cough and congestion, and it's just gone from there. I'm like, happy 18th birthday, you're ill now with the Rona. I think Bella wants out of the room. That's why she's woofing at me. Are you woofing at me? You want out? And it's hard too to be congested when it's humid weather. You know, the humidity makes it harder to breathe too, and then congestion on top of that. Summer colds suck. And let Bella out of the room. There you go. All right. But I do appreciate the prayers since we don't know at this point. It could be nothing, could be just colds and flus, but this day and age now, you just don't know. I will. I will do that. 18th birthday. He's my baby's not a baby no more. He's all grown up. I know, but you're in the way and I can't see. I was looking for streams to watch this morning, and there weren't really any that I was interested in watching. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to pull up some Netflix or something to keep myself busy while I'm awake. I could probably crochet something. I could grab all my scraps and just crochet a mismatched scrap blanket or something. You saw Barry recently? Good. I did see him comment on one of my videos the other day. He is an interesting character. He'll be 18 in October, Mr. Barry. The 22nd, I think. Do you remember Average Girl? October 22nd, I think is his birthday. I'm just disappointed that with all this virus stuff going around, I can't go. My parents couldn't visit in May like they always do, and I'm supposed to go with my son to visit them in August, and doesn't look like that's going to be occurring. Um, Not only mostly because the border is closed. Like I'd have to go to Canada, and yeah, it's just I can't go if I can't cross the border. Not to mention just the virus stuff, period. You had to shut my stream down. Why? What happened, Crystal? Really? Like what? You didn't play music or anything like that. You were out on your deck. You were out on your balcony. That's silly. Huh. Sometimes videos are taken down in error when there was really nothing. I've had some saying that I had a copyright violation when I did nothing that was copyrighted. Oh, the TV. Gotcha. I mean, though, that if it wasn't the main focus, if it was just background noise, that shouldn't matter. I mean, it's not like it was the focus of the stream. Sometimes I think that the rules are just a little bit excessive. Jeez, the cat's jumping up on the top of the cabinet. Yep. What are you doing? My gecko is getting bigger, guys. Um, when I did bring him home, he weighed all of 5 grams. And the last time I weighed him, I should weigh him again, but the last time I weighed him was, I have it in my phone because I want to keep track. Um, the last time I weighed him was on my son's birthday on the 8th, and he weighed 8 grams. So he's been gaining. Um, I have I don't have his weight when I got him home, but I know that he was 5 grams. But on the 20th, on June 20th, he was 6 grams. On July 2nd, he was 7 grams. July 8th, he's 8 grams. So I'm interested in knowing what he is now. And he has grown a little bit. I mean, it's hard for me to tell because I see him every day. But when other people haven't seen him and then they do, they're like, "Oh yeah, he's grown," because I just kind of measure him by the size of my hand when he's on my hand, how much more of my hand he takes up. And he's getting a little bit feisty. He tries to bite me when I'm holding on to him. Every now and again, he'll like turn his head and open his mouth and clamp onto my finger. And it's just really funny because it does not hurt. It does not hurt at all. And I'm like, "What do you think you're doing?" He thinks he's being tough, and it's like, "Hello? Hey, Gemma, how you doing?" But he likes his crickets and his mealworms. I need more crickets. I had a couple dozen crickets, and I've been feeding him a few every night. Um, the remaining ones that I had kind of died, so I need to get some more. In the meantime, since I can't go and get any more, in the meantime, I've got mealworms, so he's eating those. I put a few mealworms in last night, and this morning they're gone. He's a good little hunter. Usually when I drop the crickets in, he gets really alert, and it's really funny. I'm not too bad, Gemma. Just I'm sick, but one day at a time. And eventually, as he grows, I want to upgrade his tank because right now he's only in a 10-gallon. But as he grows, when he gets bigger, I want to upgrade him to a 20-gallon so he has more room to move around. Um, at right now, he's got plenty of room to move around because he's so little. But as he gets bigger and when he's full grown, he's going to have less space because he's going to be full grown. So I'd kind of like to be able to upgrade him, but I'm going to have to wait until I have the money to spare for another tank because I do not have a 20 long. I've got 10s and I've got a 20 high. I mean, all my tanks are used. I do have a 55 that's empty, but that's too big. But I need to get a hold of a 20 long. And the spider is doing well. He's still got a roach in there that I'm eventually going to fish out. It's a dubia roach. I'm eventually going to fish it out because he's not been eating it. And I don't know if it's because he just keeps evading him or if he's getting too big because he's growing. The roach is getting bigger. And at some point, it's going to be too big for him. So I thought about trying to fish him out and putting him in with my hissers and go from there. But for now, it's just in there, and then I'll throw a couple of crickets in, which right now I'm out of crickets, but at least he doesn't eat as often. But he's got himself nestled in a really nice web. And I had researched it. It said that they make webs when they're getting ready to molt and when they're happy. So he hasn't molted, but he's got a pretty nice web that he spends a lot of time in. So I'm assuming he's a happy spider. Hey, Lisa. We're still under the weather, but trucking along. Still stuck in the bedrooms. My husband spent the night in the spare room. He's avoiding me like the plague. Me and my son only come out wearing face masks, and we've got sanitizers and wipes and all sprays all around the house and most rooms, trying to keep things sanitized. All right, bud. Hope you have a good day. And I've been getting bigger quantity of crickets at one time, so I don't have to get them as often. I got myself a critter keeper. I put a slice of potato in it because they can get their food and their moisture intake from the potato. So I've just been keeping the crickets in there, and then every evening I use a toilet paper roll to kind of get a few crickets out, cover up the hole, and then drop them into the tank for little Harley, and that's been working out really well. But yeah, the remainder of what I have has died that hasn't been eaten, so I'm gonna have to get some more. So I'm either gonna have to just keep supplementing with mealworms until I can go back to work, or maybe have a friend and coworker pick me up some crickets and bring them by. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. I'm almost finished my coffee. Now I am. My last mouthful. I am coughing a little bit more today, but it's probably mainly because my throat is so scratchy. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate it. I got my kitty here hanging out. Yeah, they do. And I don't know if Pip is pregnant or not. I keep looking at her to see if she's getting fatter. Sometimes I think she's round, and then other times I'm not so sure. So I might just have to put them together again because when I got to look at my calendar when they were together. Gestation is only 16 to 20 days. And if I look at when they were together on the 29th. So the 29th, that was 2 weeks ago. So the fact that she doesn't look incredibly round and pregnant or giving birth tells me she's not. So they do go into heat every 2 days. So I'm wondering if I'm just gonna have to keep them together longer than 1 day. I mean, I had them together for 1 day, like all day during the day and all night, and that was it. So maybe I got to do that for 2 days in a row, 2 days and 2 nights in a row to hit a heat period, and then maybe that'll help. I gotta get moving on that because Harry's getting older, and it's a lot harder to find hairless hamsters. I mean, like I said ages ago, he's the first hairless hamster I'd ever seen in a pet store. So I want to get some other ones out. I want to make some new ones before he dies. She's been making herself a really big nest, but like she makes a bigger bed for herself than Harry does for him. But maybe that's just the female in her. She's just cushier. She's higher maintenance. But yeah, I don't think she's pregnant. So I might have to try putting them together again. Third time's a charm because this will be the third time that I've put them together. I mean, the first time I put them together was only in a play area. Um, and it was only for like an hour or something. Second time I hoped for better results, but maybe I just happened to put her in on a day where she wasn't in heat. What are the odds of that? Especially when they go into heat every 2 days. So I'm just gonna have to keep them together a little bit longer so that I can hit a heat day. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up because all this talking is making my throat scratchier. So I'm gonna say toodles, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I will talk with you later. Bye, guys.